All right, everything's shut down. But okay, Subi, here you are. You're at the start of stream part two. Uh, your track rules. So it is basically we just have a lot of crammed together stuff in the low mids. And we're just suffering from a degree of lack of clarity as a result of this. Um, what we are missing is I mean basically it's just got a lot going on from like 100 to 300 and stuff needs to just get cutty. Make sure that your reverbs aren't hanging out in there. uh be a little more aggressive with your guitar cuts. The vocal is probably down in there. The check and make sure the kick isn't extending into there. It's hard to hear what all is masking in the room because everything is masking and colliding so much. It's at the point where like you would go like it's unfortunately vague, but the advice is the mix is muddy. Meaning that everyone is just cramming into that 100 to 300 region. And if that stuff got more defined and carved out, then this is going to go from being a good mix to a killer mix. Okay? Um, and it's things like you've put work into doing like stereo separation, but it's not paying off because we don't have phantom center because there's too much stuff happening in the low mids. Like, what I want to feel on a really high fidelity mix as far as stereo is I want to be able to sit in my room and go like guitar is happening over here, guitar is happening over here, and then like I'm getting hit in the face with like bass, kick, and vocals, and it feels like there's a third speaker right in front of my head. And we get that really great effect when we are very careful with what's going on from like 300 on down. So it is unfortunately vague, my advice. It's muddy, but basically it's just like everyone needs to get notched down in that region. And then it's as it stands, it's a bit dark. Just see if you can maybe push some symbols up above 10K. We're just start to like we start to fall off the cliff at 10K, and we could probably for 2020. It's pretty flat all the way up to 20K. That's our general like target goal, and it's I would I would push it up a little bit brighter. All right, so all in all, excellent mix, very good mix. The I had to do like technical troubleshooting, so it's like now I have to technically troubleshoot your mix. So it's just so good. I want it cleaned up down in the low mids, and then it could become something incredible. So feel free to do that. Oh, and as far as mastering goes, you are pushing dynamic range and average loudness about one click too hot. I would just bring it back, bring it back a click, and then you're in a really good place. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up the next mix. So we have um got a track from Spencer and a track from Ocean left. And once again, if you happen to be in chat, just let me know you're here so that we can do your track live. Um, and then we'll, that would always be best. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Spencer's track. Is test 4. Probably not the official name.
Alright, this one goes like this.
Grab a smoke, got a light, only here for the night. In the morning I'll be gone, you say it's right, I know it's wrong. See you out, I'ma face back with him at a place outside the mall. Call it dumb, call it fake, what you need is an escape. You were bored, not misplaced, I gave everything to stay. You took everything away. We just can't go back. No, I won't just live like that. We just can't go back. We'll make some room, clear the way. On my own, never thought I'd say fuck those people acting nice, put the second face away. I'm not blonde, my hair is gray. Here tomorrow, gone today. Stressful choices, please make sure that I'm not leading you astray. You want hope, you want love, delicate, all the above. I'ma check off all the boxes, but still never be enough. I don't care anymore, you're at home, oh yeah, sure, like I'm alone. She gon' use the window just in case somebody's home. We just can't go back. No, I won't just live like that. We just can't go back. We just can't go back. No, I won't just live like that. We just can't go back.
Really, really cool track. So I think this is great. This is a great mix, and I want to make like my personal quick take on it is I want like 2 small moves to happen. Um, okay, all of your percussion is really, really punchy. Okay, like that's how I would describe it. Okay, so like that's my go-to word. I'm like, okay, that is punchy percussion, which means that it is really heavy in the 200 to 300 region, and we're talking about kick and snare are both occupying this place. This makes for a nice punchy lifted mix, but I think it is like 1 notch too much there. So what I want, and we've got like a prevalence of information in that 200 to 300, and we could actually use a little more in the 60 to 90. So it's like I would want to like dial back the kick like a notch in that 200 to 300 and put it up a notch around 60. And like what I would do, like specifically on that snare, I would probably do like a boost cut at 100 with a Pultec, like a little excitey, lifty thing, and then maybe another little like notch at 200, and that might be what I would do if it was like under my fingers. That's my instinct. But it's basically like stuff, there's just a little too much in that region, 200 to 300, and a little not enough lower. So splonk and splonk. And then same deal with 500 to 1K and like 1 to 3K. We're a little overrepresented in 500 to 1K and a little bit too scoopy in 1 to 3K. And these are like a little, like we're a little too, 500 to 1K, that's where like the warmth is. And it's like a little bit too warm, and we're like verging on like that boxy, muddy thing. So I would just take a little bit away from like the vocal at 500 to 1K and put a little bit in 1 to 3K. Just lifting it up a little bit. And then like your lead lines and your synths and stuff, a little bit down there, like 1 dB, and then put it up at 1 to 3K. That's going to even out your mix a little bit, because like so much of this is just like crispy, clean, pro, like it would fit in on a pop playlist. And then the mastering engineer part of my brain goes like, if it was, because like when you look at like pop mixes, they are just, it's mostly just like flat frequency responses. That's kind of what is up in 2020, with like a few exceptions I could go through. But to make this just fit in the zeitgeist of a pop playlist, it's like I would just flatten it out a little bit in those regions, like that 200 to 300 could go a little bit in the low end, and that 500 to 1K could go into that 1 to 3K, flatten it all out, call it a day, and then you've got a great mix. Your master settings as far as loudness are just basically 100% dialed in. I would even maybe squeeze it a little bit. It's like verging. It's in a really, really nice place, but it could have like one notch less dynamic range, which is already probably going to happen by getting a little more into that 60 to 100 range. Awesome track. Really loved it. Send stuff in anytime. All right. So I think that is it. The last thing that I have is a YouTube link from Ocean. And I'm going to listen to that. I can't route it through stream, so it's just going to be playing in my room. I'm going to go ahead and take a listen to that, and then we are good for the day. hey, this is a really, really cool track, and I don't want to, venture too far. I like getting like the actual files because, like a YouTube track has a degree of like YouTube degradation and compression, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but I think it might have that, like the kick is a little bit boxy, and I would want some of it taken away from that punch region of 200, just a click, and brought into the like chesty feel region of 60. And I think that would like clear up a lot of like low end stuff and generally just like beef up this mix. You've got like a lead kind of like wub synth that comes in like a minute and a half in, and it sounds like it might be pushing up against the limiter a little bit hard and restricting the overall dynamics of the piece. But we could also be dealing with like streaming compression at that point. So if you ever want to send in a file, I'd be happy to go and do like a more direct, we're listening through a filter at this point. So really cool, really clean, really great. I love the detail up in the upper mids and the high end. That sounds incredible, and the whole thing sounds really good and slick and pro. So in a nutshell, maybe a little bit too much punch, and it could use a little bit of sub, and also feel free to send in a track. All right, folks. I think that is it. Okay. We've got IVXY is thinking about sending something in real quick. I will definitely stick around if you've got that ready to go. All right, so if you are watching, I got through everything that got sent in today. So it's basically from 15 minutes into the stream all the way through the end. It's just hitting up, it's pure content. And the only track that I didn't get to, I'm going to email you, Vincane, you sent me a link to my stream, so I think it was just a copy paste thing. So we'll get to you later. And if you ever want to send something, just send stuff throughout the day, and I will get to it on the stream. The next one will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I will see everyone then. IVXY just sent in a track, and I'm going to pull that up. All right, this is Say About Me.
First to pull up to the front, she started said they know all my verses, and I ain't slept in much, so I've been piling the work. This shit feel like a first to pull up to the front, she started said they know all my verses, and I ain't slept in much, so I've been piling the work. They are on the socials and they quiet a person, okay. Tell me when you're off and I go slide, you just gotta call me. I've got some haters, pass them over and the rest is all G. And I don't give a fuck what all your little friends are saying about me. Yeah, they can say it around me. Yeah, they can say it around. I stay up forever, I touch down on my city. I swear the people in my mentions, they all saying I killed it this year. She said that she love me, but she hate me at the same time. I stay up forever, I touch down on my city. I swear the motherfuckers talking, they ain't even releasing this year. I know I'm about to blow up at the city in the nighttime. This shit feel like a first to pull up to the front, she started said they know all my verses, and I ain't slept in much, so I've been piling the work. They are on the socials and they quiet a person, okay. Tell me when you're off and I go slide, you just gotta call me. I've got some haters passing
I'ma lay it down free. Making sure my team all eat. And I don't give a fuck what they're saying about me. Tryna make the way around me. I don't never gotta play up, I'ma lay it down free. Making sure my team all eat. And I don't give a fuck what they're saying about me.
Cool. Always great to hear. Oh,
I ain't never going home tonight. And she's snapping with them people that she don't even like. Yeah. I ain't never been a man on the side. Take a trip inside my whip and we could roll and get high. Yeah. I ain't never going home tonight. And she's snapping with them people that she don't even like. Yeah. Never been a man on the side. Take a trip inside my whip and we could roll and get high. Yeah. I ain't never going home tonight. And she's snapping with them people that she don't even like. I ain't never been a man on the side. Take a trip inside my whip and we could roll and get high. Yeah. I ain't never going home tonight. And she's snapping with them people that she don't even like. Yeah. Never been a man on the side. Take a trip inside my whip and we could roll and get high. Yeah.
cool. Yeah. That ending is really cool. I really love what's going on there. Okay. It's too smiley faced. Like, long story short, it's like the extreme low end and the extreme high end. It's like the smiley face frequency curve is definitely the like modern you know, if someone was like, turn around a modern master for me, I would smiley face it. I would give it a nice bottom, from 30 to 60, and a nice top, like from 8K on up. But I'm looking for a smiley face that's like this, and this is like this. So we're extremely hyped on the lows and extremely hyped on the high end. So that is robbing us of like mid-range definition. And so it's like we're kind of underwater a little bit. And if you just pulled those elements in, it's also going to fix a bunch of other like tertiary like issues with the mix. Like, because the low end is slamming up so hard in the sub region, like 30 to 60, that's eating up lots of dynamic range. So we're taking away loudness from the final master, etc. So we're the like, as far as final loudness, like, we're sitting at a really nice average loudness. The RMS, it's hanging around -9, which is like audiophile quality, but it's paired with a really pinned dynamic range, which generally means too much sub. So if you dial that back, that's going to open up your track and let it pump and breathe in a really, really natural way. The high end, I think that there's just a degree of shaving that could happen all over. You're also, the vocal is S-ing around 6K really hard. So take a look at that specifically on the vocal. And if you can like clamp back the vocal in that like upper mid region, then you're going to be able to like maybe brighten up some instruments, also bring out and kind of even out the vocal in the 1 to 2K range and get it a little bit less scoopy in the like upper mids right there. Then the mix is going to be way better. So we need to, just bring back the extreme ends, and then look at like bringing a little bit of careful definition into the 1 to 2K range, 1 to 3K. It's just too scooped, and at the end of the day, that's fine. I mean, like, this looks like a pretty normal, like, almost done mix. just dial in those extremes and you're good to go. Really cool track. Love that outro. It is really good. So, folks, this is a ton of open studios. If you have sent something in or want to send something in, you can send it to atonuvrecords@gmail.com. Stuff gets sent in throughout the day, and then I get to it at the stream. It's at 6 p.m. Eastern. I am being a view count Andy, as they would say. I just saw that a few people came in, so if you have any questions or if you sent something earlier in the day, I already got to it, but I could kind of recap it, or if you want to send something in, that's cool. If not, I've gotten through everything that's been sent in today, so I'm just going to hang out for a few minutes, and if nothing comes in, we will oh, okay. Ocean just sent in their track. Cool. So I listened to this on a YouTube link a little bit ago, but now we can actually hear it. And that's cool because it sounds great. So we can dial in some more stuff. And yeah, Ocean, if you're in chat, let me know, and we can talk about your mix. Just gonna load this up. This part is beautiful. All right. Thanks for sending a file. So as far as like when I'm talking about like a nice like modern smiley face, this is pretty in line with what I'm looking for. It's a little bit scooped, but it's nice and it's nice and controlled. I would play around with bringing some definition above 10K. As far as if we were going for like a really, really, really modern pop thing, we would dial up above 10K. This has like I really love how this sounds. It sounds really, really classic. So this is also definitely an aesthetic decision. Um, I would also just push this a little bit further into the limiter. You have room to go um, on this track. Actually, it's not that often that I'm like, yeah, make it louder, but it could be louder. So, when I heard it on YouTube, I was like, I wonder if we're hitting the limiter too hard. But I actually think that maybe your side chain could get addressed. It's this synth. So it sounds overly compressed right there, and I'm thinking maybe that is side chaining like really aggressively into your mix, and it sounds like the mix is sucking into itself, but actually we still have a lot of dynamic range. So I would um, I would take a look at those compression settings because something like the overall track isn't losing dynamic range, but it sounds like something is getting a little too compressed. It's uh it's definitely like I know the color that's being reached for, and I think it's just been overextended by like one notch. And if it got brought back, we would be able to have like that really, really exaggerated, punchy bass wobble thing while also not feeling like the track is collapsing in on itself. So, and then as far as like loudness on this thing goes, so this is the loudest moment of the track, and I think we're hitting around like -10 RMS, and I would get this going to like -8, to be like modern and competitive while still maintaining a really, really nice open dynamic range. But that said, if we pushed it to -8 at this point, because there is like kind of this push pull happening within the mix, it probably wouldn't be amazing. But all in all, this whole thing we could push everything a little bit hotter. Yeah, Moss, I love your track. I just hopped back onto chat, and yeah, I listened to the YouTube link earlier, and I really love what you did, and that's basically what I would approach on those elements. Okay, so this was a ton of open studio. I have had a great time. Uh, Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sending stuff. At any time, you can send stuff to atonuvrecords@gmail.com. I'll check it out that night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, I think that's a wrap for tonight. Unless anyone's hanging around that hasn't been here or whatever, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. And yeah, Moss, absolutely great listening to your track. I loved listening to it. All right, cool, y'all. I will be back tomorrow at 6.